This win right here has got the NFL media percolating. Everybody's talking about this win, including us here on the Broncos Breakdown. So, on today's episode, I'm going to talk about some of those rumors that have been spreading throughout NFL media circles about this unbelievable 21-17 comeback win for the Denver Broncos. Welcome in Broncos country. Before we get started, I thought I'd update you every single Monday on our current like situation. Our likes versus the Eagles watch party got 1,137. That's a very impressive number. Anytime we're over 1,000, that's amazing. Our likes for the month of October, 9,278. We are well on our way to smashing our October goal. So do me a favor, hit that thumbs up icon. Let's jump right in to our post-win rumors. Our very first rumor that we got to start talking about, asking the questions, the hard-pressing ones, that is, in Big J journalism. Are the Broncos putting the NFL on notice? You bet. Of course they are. Because look, the Philadelphia Eagles were one of two teams in the NFL that were undefeated going into Week 5. I'm not saying it was the most impressive or most important win that the Broncos have ever had in their history, tenure, but what you do know is that that comeback win signified so much more than just another tick in the win column. In fact, Sports Illustrated, not Broncos Sports Illustrated, NFL's Sports Illustrated as a whole, actually devoted themselves a little article to the Denver Broncos. And basically, they wrapped up the entirety of the game recap with this paragraph. So the Broncos, by the time you read this, will be in London, Governor, for the week and will be one-of-a-kind signature, or with the one-of-a-kind signature win, they can build off of. They'll get the Jets this week in the UK. They'll get the Giants and the Cowboys at home after that. And if you look at their schedule, could be very well 8-2 when the Chiefs come to town on November 16th. Bingo. That's all we needed to hear. This team is just a couple of plays away, by the way, from being 5-0. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Also, did you know, I want to kind of highlight one mini play from the Broncos versus Eagles game, the two-point conversion, which I don't think is getting nearly enough love as it should. That two-point conversion was the very first go-ahead two-point conversion attempt in Sean Payton's career in 298 games. And you just so happen to do it on the road against a team that was 4-0 and being touted as the best in the NFL. That is balls if I have ever seen Sean Payton have some balls. So a tip of the cap to Sean Payton, my head coach, and this entire Broncos coaching staff for going out, executing, and realizing we came into Lincoln Financial Field. We went into Philadelphia to win a football game, not tie it up. And here are some other facts that you need to know. The Broncos are 2 field goals away from being 5-0. A leverage penalty from the Indianapolis Colts, where the Broncos actually had the game won, if not for the leverage penalty, because the first kick was missed. And then, of course, that last kick against the Chargers that put the Chargers up to win the game. They are still one of the most penalized teams in the NFL. The last time we talked about this, they were top 4, and it really hasn't improved since that notion. So you can only assume that they're still top 3, top 4. And they trailed that game 17-3 entering the fourth quarter. This, to me, signifies one thing. The Broncos have not even come close to realizing their full potential. If those facts don't indicate that this is one of the most talented teams in the NFL, I don't know what else to tell you. You're not watching the same game. Now, like I said, it's not perfect. Like I said, there's a lot to clean up. And like I said, has it been 2 disappointing losses so far this season? You bet. But I think what you saw from the Denver Broncos in the fourth quarter against the Philadelphia Eagles was a taste of what this team is fully capable of. Now, whether or not they reach that capability and reach that ceiling remains to be seen. You and I can't play the games for them. We can't call the games for them. We can only react to how they play the games. So, I'll ask you one question. What is the Denver Broncos ceiling in the 2025 NFL season? If you were to ask me right now, the absolute ceiling is making the Super Bowl. But, you know, I don't want to be the one that sits here and is just like, this is a Super Bowl winning team, because right now, through a multitude of different areas, they have shown that they're not. But this one isolated quarter proved to me that this team is capable of far greater than we expected over the last couple of weeks. Let's go into our second rumor, one that I'm so excited to talk about. Is Nik Bonitto the best edge rusher in the NFL? I don't want to go that far yet, but I will say that rumor is definitely heating up. You know, like in beer pong, when you get that first cup and you're like, ooh, I made a cup. And then the second one, you make it again, you're like, whoa, oh, hold on, I'm heating up now. That's kind of how I feel this rumor is kind of sitting around the NFL. Not to say that Nik Bonitto isn't already one of the best, because the statistics prove that in a lot of areas he is. And we'll talk about those areas coming up here in just a little bit. Now, before I do that, I got to tell you about my friends from Prize Picks. Today's sponsor is Prize Picks, and you and I make decisions every single day. But on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. You can follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app, by the way, and copy their lineups in just one click, whether it is a friend, a celebrity partner, like producer Alper on the ones and twos, or just someone whose picks you like a lot. Hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create on the new Feed tab on Prize Picks. How does it work? Very simple. Pick your player, pick their more or less on their stat projections, and then watch your money multiply. You can win up to 2,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Just download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. Nik Bonitto, where does he rank amongst his peers? I'm glad you asked. With his 2.5 sack performance on Sunday, Nik Bonitto now has 20.5 sacks since the start of last season. For reference, that's the most in the NFL in that time period. The next closest is somebody that we talked about all offseason long in Trey Hendrickson, who is getting paid, by the way, far much more than Nik Bonitto is. Just a little sidebar there. But Broncos Wire said this about Nik Bonitto, and look, I trust Broncos Wire with my life. They have all of the best stuff to read about the Denver Broncos. After cornerback Pat Surtain won the Defensive Player of the Year in 2024, the Broncos now have the chance to become the very first team since 2003-2004 to have teammates win the award in back-to-back seasons. Bonito added 2.5 sacks on Sunday, and he now leads the NFL with 7 sacks through 5 games. That puts him on pace for 23.5 sacks in 2025. By the way, the franchise record is 18.5, which was done by Von Miller. Just a little sidebar. This is a full circle moment, probably one of the I can't make it up stats of the entire day. The Von Miller trade, when the Broncos got rid of him, landed the Broncos the 64th pick in the 2022 NFL draft. Who did they draft with the 64th pick in the 2022 NFL draft? I'll let you guess based off of the context clues and the guy who's on the screen. It was Nik Bonitto. Just a fun little fact for you. And by the way, I did say that Nik Bonitto was at the top of the league in a multitude of statistics. He is, and he will continue to be, in my opinion. That's how high I am on this guy. He's first in the NFL in sacks with 7. First in the NFL in pressures with 31. He's second in the NFL with quick pressures at 14. And by the way, he's only playing 25th in the NFL in pass rush snaps at 109. So he's first, and second in those categories, but still only 25th in total pass rush snaps taken. I think that's pretty outstanding. This is history in the making, folks. You are witnessing the second coming of Von Miller. I mean, do I think Nik Bonitto is going to end up with 23.5 sacks? Objectively speaking, based off of the numbers, no. But did I tell you before this season started that Nik Bonitto could end up with 16 sacks this season? Yes. Does it look like he can achieve that easily? Yes. So, if you were to ask me right now, is he the very best in the NFL? Probably not, but he's definitely top 3, top 4. You couldn't argue that. You could not argue that. Let's talk about our last rumor, and I think this one's important to mention also here. Is Evan Engram finally arriving? He's been a player that we've been very disappointed with the first couple of weeks. And I think the answer is still a wait and see. However, I have to give credit where credit is due. I think after his explosion with Sean Payton on the sidelines heading into the locker room for halftime against the Eagles, I thought we finally saw what Evan Engram was capable of. He only finished the day with 4 receptions for 33 yards and a touchdown, which is a pretty decent stat line. It's not amazing. It's pretty good. But most of this came in the second half, by the way. This was a step in the right direction. I think one of the biggest areas that Broncos fans have wanted for Bo Nix since he was drafted is a solid tight end game, a tight end that can be utilized as a safety blanket for Bo Nix. And there is one play in specifics in this game where I went back and I rewatched the tape, and you're not going to remember this play 3 weeks from now. I can guarantee it. But I will. And why? Because it was the ultimate momentum swinger for the Denver Broncos. That 3rd and long, I believe it was 3rd and 15, where Bo Nix drops back and he fires the ball over the middle. Engram makes a fingertips grab above his head, brings it down, gets the first down, and continues the drive. On a scorecard, in a stat sheet, it is not going to stand out other than a 15 or 16-yard gain to Evan Engram. But that play right there was the major momentum swing for the Denver Broncos on that drive. It was his most impressive play as a Denver Bronco, period. And if you look at the tight end depth chart that has now seen Lucas Kroll end up on short-term IR, and Nate Adkins still trying to find his way on this offense as a blocker, as a player that can get involved in the play-action game, you're essentially relying on Evan Engram and Adam Troutman. Well, I know Adam Troutman's a great blocker, but is he a great tight end in the receiving game? No. Evan Engram has to be that guy, and he hasn't been so far. But I also brought up that he got into this massive explosion fight with Sean Payton, which looked like exactly what he needed to get back into the swing of things. They were asked about it, Sean Payton specifically, about this whole scuffle that he had with Engram. And Payton, a no-bullshit coach, said, I got pissed at him, and he got pissed at me. That's it. Payton said he got after him. Engram responded. And you know what? This part right here, this little tiny part at the very, very bottom of this tweet was kind of a good thing. Finally, we saw some light. Because the body language, the injuries, whatever you want to blame on Evan Engram for his slow start and his failure to launch this 2025 season, this seemed to be the epicenter and the final catalyst of everybody's frustrations with him. This came down to this moment where Sean Payton was every Broncos fan and was like, Evan, do something. Be Evan Engram. And we finally saw Evan Engram show up in the second half against the Philadelphia Eagles. Hopefully it signifies more great things to come from this guy. I'm fired up about it. I love to see that from my coaches and my players. Payton wants his players to have fire. He wants his players to bark back at him because they're grown men trying to accomplish something great. Was this the kick in the pants that Evan Engram needed? Yes or no? Abso-freaking-lutely it was. Abso-freaking-lutely. But you let me know in the comment section down below. Before we get back on out of here, a reminder, the likes that we got from the Eagles, I can't thank you guys enough. You showed up, you showed out. It was great. The likes in October, we're already off to a great start. If you like this video, if you like our content, hit that thumbs up icon. It's completely free. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to hit that like button, like I said. Subscribe to the channel. And as always, Broncos Country,